Hello folks, welcome to another Techopolis live stream. Super excited that y'all are here. Today we're going to be doing some Python code, and we're just going to give it a couple minutes for people to join in. We're going to start just at 7:30, maybe a little bit after, to ensure that folks can get in and get ready. If you're following along, be sure to get your code editor out, and be sure to get a terminal open probably, or whatever you guys use. I'm going to be using terminal. But you'll want to get that stuff open. But if you're in chat, say hi. I'm going to go ahead and open up chat. Let's see if anyone's here. Let me go check the YouTube and see if anyone's here. Let's see. Let me check to see who is here. And then, like I said, we'll get started momentarily. So, thank y'all for watching the stream. And if you're watching after the fact, I appreciate it. And hopefully you guys learn a lot tonight. We're going to have a fun time. This seemed like a simple game. It's kind of, incoherently stupid, but the concepts that you'll learn are very applicable, and you'll learn a lot of cool concepts that could help you with other projects. So I'm really excited for this, and it's going to be pretty epic. Let's see if anyone is watching. And apparently my Safari has decided today that it wanted to not respond. That is awesome. Just give me a second, folks. Let me go ahead and see what's going on here. Okay. But we're going to get started just at 7:30. I just want to make sure that we're up and going here and that anyone's in the chat. And apparently my remote connection got disconnected. Here we go. Got the chat open. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up chat and see who's here. And like I said, we'll just get started. So just give me a couple seconds and to make sure we're all set up here. I think we are. Safari, you need you to respond. But how are y'all doing tonight? I just am super excited to do this again. I've been doing a lot of streaming lately and I've been having a blast. So what are y'all's thoughts? You guys like it? You guys like me streaming a lot? And yeah, let's see who's here. Okay. Alright, let me just make sure we're good to go here, and we're going to get started. Alright. So, now let me just ask you guys, how many of you, if any of you watching right now, how familiar are you guys with Python? Do you guys know some Python? Are you guys complete beginners? Just so I kind of have an idea of who I'm working with here. And if no one's watching, go ahead and comment after the fact, and you guys can see who, or if any of us have experience. I just kind of want to get a gauge of our audience before I go ahead and start up. I see we've got myself, I believe, watching, and let's see, any chatters? Let me check chat. Yep, Greg, I saw that. I will go ahead and try that later on about sharp keys. We had a stream about that earlier. So I will try that later. Any other chatters, or else we're going to get started. Alright, we do have a chatter, and I happen to miss it. So let me go check it out here. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the stream. So, Jeff, you said you're a beginner. That's okay. That's totally fine. All right. I see we got some folks coming in. We've got Greg. We've got Jeff. I think it's time to get started. So, welcome, everybody, to another Techopolis live stream. My name is Tay, or Taylor, and we're going to be coding a game today in Python. Now, like I was saying on Twitter, if you guys follow me on Twitter, if you don't, I don't know what y'all are missing out on, because I tweet a lot, and I tweet a lot about different Python topics, different coding things, and accessibility, and anything else that I find relevant. So if you want to follow my Twitter, I actually just changed my Twitter username to TayArnt. So let me go ahead and put that in the chat for y'all. That way you guys can follow me. And that way you guys can see what I'm up to, and that way you guys know when I'm streaming. So either way, I post a lot of different Python things on Twitter, and I followed a lot of different cool people. So It's really exciting. And the reason is that you'll want to try to follow me, like, because I've got a lot of different tutorials and just different Python things. So if you like Python, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what we're doing tonight. So I mentioned earlier that we're going to be making a game. And the concept of the game is very simple. A guess the number game. Now, I know you're going to be thinking, but Taylor, this is boring. I don't want to do it, and it's like a kid. I know. You're probably thinking that, and I understand where you're coming from. But here's the thing. Learning this will be very helpful for us. And it will also teach us a lot of different concepts. Some concepts that I hope you guys get out of this tonight are, for one thing, we're going to talk about loops, so looping. We're going to talk about variables, of course, because we need to declare variables. We're going to talk about input from users. We're going to talk about random number generation. We're going to talk about importing modules. We're going to talk about playing sounds, so we're going to even play some audio files for the game. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So if you've never programmed before, don't worry. You can still follow along. So here's how it's going to work. I understand that people might be a little bit upset that I'm not sharing voiceover, but because of the nature of this, I am going to go ahead and not share my voiceover. But what I'm going to do is at the end of each little step, I'm going to put my current code in the chat so that y'all can see it, okay? I know this is not the best solution, but at the end, if you guys want to see it, there will be a GitHub repository published to the Techopolis organization on GitHub, and the link will be in the description so that you guys can see the full completed product. And as well as the full completed product, you guys can see the sound files. The sound files are not mine. I got them from a website called FreeSound. So I just want to make that disclaimer that they are not my sound files, but they do work pretty well, okay? All right. We have a chatter. Greg Watcher says, I know the basics of Python. That's okay, Greg. Well, hopefully you can still learn something tonight. And, you know, again, this is an open stream. So if you guys have something to contribute, go ahead and put it in chat and we'll see what we can do. All right. Let's see. So, again, we're going to go ahead and start off by opening up a terminal or a command prompt. And I assume that you guys have the environment set up. If you don't, go ahead and check out my last stream where I did a development environment setup. And this is actually where the idea of this game came from. So Payon wanted me to do something a little bit more advanced than Hello World. So I came up with this little game. All right. So Payon, if you're watching, this is your idea, so awesome job. And what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a new folder, and I'm going to actually create a new folder. So let me go ahead and open up the terminal now, and I'm on Mac, so I am going to open up my Mac terminal, and I'm using VS Code tonight. So, and for those who are asking, I know this is a very common question, what theme do y'all use? Well, I just use a default theme. Being blind, the theme really doesn't matter to me, and so I just use the default VS Code theme. So I know a lot of people ask that question on YouTube, and the truth of the matter is that I don't change the theme one bit, because honestly, it really doesn't matter for me. Okay? So, that is the moral of that story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Terminal, and I'm going to go to my Documents folder. And I'm going to do mkdir. So mkdir. That will go ahead and make a new directory in the current location. So right now I'm in my Documents folder, and I want to make a new directory. I'm going to call this guess the number, so lowercase g, because remember I'm doing camel case. So camel case is the first letter lowercase, or the first word, and all subsequent first letters are uppercase. So guess the capital number live. Now I'm going to cd. So cd, again, it changes directory. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change into our new directory. And what this will allow us to do is it will allow us to eventually open up the directory in our code editor, VS Code. You don't have to use VS Code for this tutorial, but I am, because that's honestly my favorite code editor. So I'm going to do cd, and I'm going to do tab completion. So I'm going to type in guess the number live. Now I'm going to do code space period. Code space period. What this does is it opens up your code editor, the whole entire directory in VS Code. So code space period. Now what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of a welcome panel here, and I'm just going to get rid of it. It just says, hey, welcome to VS Code, da 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 da. I don't really care, so I'm going to go ahead and do a Command W. And now I'm going to do a Command N or Control N on Windows. And what this will do is it will allow me to create a new file. So let me go ahead and do that now. So Command N. I'm going to do Command S to save the file, or Control S on Windows. And I'm going to save this as guessthenumber.py. Again, I'm going to use the same camel casing structure that I've been using all along. So capital for the first letter of the second word, and lowercase for the first letter of the first word. So guess, so I'm going to do lowercase g, capital T, and then capital N. .py. So .py, recall all Python files have a .py extension. And if we have a .py extension, what we're going to be doing is we're going to say, hey, this is a Python file. Now, if you did not set your environment up and you open a Python file, VS Code is going to recommend that you install the Python extension. And the cool thing is that it recommends extensions based on what file types you have open. So say you open a C# file, it will recommend the C# extension, and so on and so forth. So it's really cool because it'll recommend different extensions for you to download. I already have my environment set up tonight. That's not the purpose of the stream, but I'm just thought that I would let you know. So let's see here. .py. I don't want to go through the type list because, again, that would be a lot more time consuming. I could just save more time by pressing the dot, so period, and then typing the extension after the file name and pressing enter, which will automatically save it in this folder. Okay? Any questions on creating the file? So far, as a recap, we have created our file. We have opened up a directory in VS Code. And we also have done some terminal creating directories. So any questions on what I've done so far? Anyone not clear? Or are you guys all set? And if you're in chat and you're new, welcome to the channel. And I'm glad that you guys are here. And this is going to be a really great stream. So if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to chat throughout the stream, and I will answer them to my best of the ability. Again, after each step that I do, the code will be put in the chat for you guys to reference. Okay. I don't see any chatters, so I'm going to assume that everything is okay. I know that the chat sometimes has a lag, though. But I'm going to go ahead and move on just so that we don't have to bore everyone with waiting for chat messages. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start coding. So, of course, my watch has decided that it would like to have a statement in the stream and just saying that's low battery. So, that's always fun. So, anyways, like I was saying, we're going to be coding now, and we're first going to have to import modules. So, let's talk about the import for a second. What is the import exactly? The import allows you to import modules, and a module is simply like a library. So, it's simply kind of an extension. It's an extension of the language. So, for example, you can create your own modules. You can also use modules installed through pip, which is the Python package manager, as well as you can use the Python built-in modules. And if you want some documentation about that, the Python documentation has a lot of great information about the modules, and it has a lot of cool different syntax and stuff about how to do imports and learning more. So in reality, in a short term, basically a import is just importing additional functionality so that you're able to use more different kinds of code, and it's kind of like an add-on for Python, okay? So if you're familiar with NVDA, you know how you've got add-ons, think of that as kind of the same for modules for Python. Long story short, we have to import a module called random, and the random module will simply generate a random number. So first what I'm going to type in is I'm at line 1 of my code editor, and I'm going to type in import. This is a lowercase, so import. Notice that I have different code suggestions coming up. So in VS Code, there's something called IntelliSense or tab completion, Basically, if you type something in, for example, import or imp, you can press tab and it will complete the rest. So if you guys see what that is, kind of the suggestions, and they are accessible, folks. So if you are using a screen reader, be assured that they're fully accessible. So I'm going to type in import. I'm going to press tab here. I'm going to type in random. Okay? So let me go ahead and put that in chat. So far, we've imported the random module. And the syntax looks like the following. Let me go put that in the chat if I can copy the right thing. So far, we've imported random, and that's what this looks like. So importing random, it's just one line, import random. Any thoughts or any questions or comments? Let me make sure I don't have any chatters. I just want to make sure that my chat is reading properly. Anybody able to see the code that I just threw into chat? I believe that it is coming out clearly. Again, it's not the best format, but hey, it works for now. At least it gets the point across. Let me know if you all can't see the import line, and then we'll go ahead and see if anyone's still here. Let me go and make sure that my chat is still reading. I think it is. Actually, yes, it is. So if you guys can see the code, please comment in the chat and say that it's good, and that way I know we can go ahead and move on. And if it's not, then we'll fix it. No end-of-line symbols, Jeff. Basically, I did add an end-of-line symbol. So that's the only thing, folks, is that the end-of-line, I did add an end-of-line. Again, this is not the ideal solution. Ideally, what I would do is I would share the speech, but again, because of trying to do this on YouTube with text-to-speech and all these other things, it's not feasible. But no, there is no end-of-line symbols, Jeff. And yeah, so there is no end-of-line symbols, but there is only one line written in Python so far. So we only have one line. Again, it's not the greatest. I was told that yesterday, but at least you guys can kind of see what the code looks like before I publish it live on GitHub. Okay, so let me know if anyone else has a better idea, and we might be able to explore that. But for now, this is what I can come up with. But if anyone has a better idea, I want to do live share, but it's a little bit finicky, and trying to explain that on stream is a little bit too much. So if anyone has any other ideas, maybe I'd do like a Google Doc or something. I don't know. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Maybe we can explore that for future. So let's see. So Jeff said yes, it came through. All right, let's go ahead and move on now. So let's see. We have to import another module called PlaySound. And PlaySound is a module. What do you think PlaySound does? It plays a sound. So you need to install these modules, of course. So you have to install PlaySound. And if you're on a Mac, you're going to do pip3 install PlaySound. The only other thing with PlaySound is that it says it requires a Python 2 process in order to function properly. So you have to install this other module called pyobjc. If you're unfamiliar with all this, the instructions when you try to run the app for the first time are going to be in the terminal. And so that way you can see, oh, I need to install this other module. And once you do that, it will actually work perfectly. So you want to install the pyobjc module. Let me see if I can find that in the chat, or else when you try to run your app for the first time, it will say, hey, install this module, please. At least for me, it did. So we're going to import PlaySound. Now, this is a little bit of a different syntax. So we're going to import, so it'll say from PlaySound oops. Oops. Okay. Let's see, from PlaySound import star. Now, this is normally not recommended. So normally, if you're a good Python coder, you would not import star. Importing star basically means that you're importing the entire library set of that library. So basically, you're importing everything. Now, normally this is bad because it would slow down your code and make it bigger than it normally needs to be. But because the PlaySound module is only one function, PlaySound, it's not a huge deal. Okay, so we have from PlaySound import star. Okay, So we have from play sound import star. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put this in chat as well. But let's do a couple more lines first. And another thing that I like to do is test my code before I try to run it, make sure that I'm doing okay, and make sure that everything's good. So what I'm going to do now is we need to get a loop. So a loop basically is a way to repeat blocks of code, or repeat different types of code. Now, there's a lot of different loops. There's while loops, which can be used, for example, to do like while true or while variable equals true. And then there's for loops, which is used a lot more for like when you have a certain condition, for example, like a certain number of times you want to run the loop. And then there's like while, or excuse me, like do and all those other things. In this case, we're just going to use a simple while loop. If you're unfamiliar with loops, there is some Python documentation. Once we're done with the stream, I'll link to some documentation. But loops basically help you to repeat code, and it helps to be able to use it, more than once and execute until a condition is met, okay? So what we're going to type here is while true. Now, something to note here. You may ask yourself, why is true and false always capitalized? Because it is. The answer is because Python is an object-oriented programming language. We already know that, so it's all object-based. As a result, believe it or not, Michael Doey's told me this earlier. True and false are actually class names. And if you know anything about Python, you know that class names are actually capitalized. So as a result, while true, so true is capitalized, false is capitalized as well. So I just thought I'd tell you all that because I know that a lot of people might be asking me about that, and Michael Doey just told me that about a few minutes ago before we were going to do the stream. So it's just a little bit of a tidbit for y'all. So here's what we're going to do. While and this is not indented so far. So far, we are not indenting any of our code. Because remember, we indent code when we're going to have a code block. So after this while loop, we'll go ahead and indent. And the cool thing about VS Code, it indents for you. While true, colon. And I heard a little bit of a space there, so while true, colon. Now, if you have the indent report extension, like we talked about yesterday, on the Mac, it'll be very good because you could hear, I'm just going to turn off my watch, you can hear how it reports if you are using a screen reader, right? It'll be a beep. So while true, colon, indentation. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to type in, for example, we need to get a number from the computer. So because this game, we have to guess a number, we need to have it generate a random number. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to call this computer. Because basically it's almost like you're playing against a computer. So I'm just going to call this computer number. And remember, camel case, so computer's lower, number's upper, equals. Of course, I've got int and I've got input. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an int. Now, what is an, excuse me, we're not going to do that yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to generate a random number. So we're going to do random.randint. So random is our random number function, or module, excuse me, that we imported earlier. And randint will generate a random integer because we don't want to generate a float, which is like a decimal, do we? That would be a pain in the butt to guess. So we want to generate a integer. So we're going to do random.randint. Okay, so random, this is all lowercase, dot randint. So randint. And then we're going to have two numbers. We're going to have 1, or in this case, I'm going to start at 1, and we're going to have a comma, and then we're going to have our second number. So in this case, I want to do it between 1 and 10. So I'm going to go ahead and say random.randint equals left parentheses, excuse me, computer number equals random.randint left parentheses 1, comma 10, right parentheses. So I want to make sure that that is a random number between 1 and 10 because we don't want to make it too hard for people to guess, do we? No. So we want to make it so that everyone can be able to guess the number easily. And eventually what we'll do if we have time tonight is we'll try to limit it so that if they guess 3 times, they're out. Okay? But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to have it guess, and then we'll have it play sounds and vice versa. So let me go ahead and put the code in that I have so far after I go ahead and ask for the user's input. So now we're going to type in the user input. And the user input, I'm going to call this user number. So this is what the human will type in. I want to make this pretty differentiable. That's a word. So I'm going to type in user number equals int. So int, an integer. So we're going to be getting an int as input. So we're going to get an int as input. So we're going to say integer. So int, left parentheses, input, left parentheses, quotation marks. Now we have quotes because this is a string. And recall that a string is going to be printed to the screen, right? It's going to be in quotation marks, which is going to be printed. Please type in guess, or let's see. Please type your guess between 1. Please type in your guess between 1 and 10. Okay? Notice I've got 2 parentheses. So I've got 1 because I had to close it from the int, and then I've got another one because I had to close it from the input. So let me go ahead and paste in the code that I have so far. Again, it's not going to look that great, but at least you can kind of have an idea. But again, be sure to look at the repo when it's published. A link will be going out on Twitter, which is probably another reason why you guys should follow me on Twitter. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do if statements. So first thing we have to do is we want to check to see if the numbers are equal. This is our easiest case because basically what we're going to do is if the numbers are equal, we're going to break, and we're also going to play a clapping sound. Okay? So first what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if. So we're going to do an if statement. So if, again, this is under the code block of the previous line, under the user number. So if user number equals computer number, colon. Now, colon indicates the end of the statement, and that will indicate that on the next line, what we're going to do is we're going to have it indented further. So we're going to have it indented twice to represent the next block. So if user number equals, we're going to check for equality. So we're going to do double equals computer number, colon, then, so we're going to print something, and we're going to play a sound. So just hold up a second, and you'll see what I mean. So colon, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to break. So that will exit the program. So if the user gets it right, they're done with the program, and it's over. So what we're going to say now is we're going to say, I'm going to say print, left parentheses, cool. Actually, I'm going to say, you guessed my number, exclamation mark. Now, we're going to do print statement. So print is a function. So we're going to do print, left parentheses, because we have to do our function, quote, this is going to be displayed on the screen, and then you guessed my number, exclamation mark, quote, right parentheses. So this is a print statement. And it's pretty fundamental. Basically, it's a function that will print something to the screen. You can do variables, you can do string, like string text, that kind of thing. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get some sounds. And we're going to use our play sound module that we just imported about 5 minutes ago. And we're going to play the sound. So, I'm going to, let's see. Okay. So I'm going to play the sound, and in this case, the sound that I have is a clapping sound. It's called correct.mp3. So correct.mp3, it's just something I came up with. It will be in the repo as well, but basically it's just a clapping sound. So I will go ahead, once we're done with the program, And once we're ready to go, I will actually share my screen. You guys can hear kind of how it works. So, all right. Let me go ahead and copy some sounds over. I had them in a different folder, and I failed to copy them into our current folder. So let me just do that a second. While I'm doing that, this is a perfect opportunity. If you have questions in the chat, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will try to help you. And we will go ahead and see what we can do. So let me just do that a second, and just give me about 2 or 3 minutes. Not even, probably about 30 seconds. And this is a perfect chat time to get a message in, or if you want to take a little bit of a break, that is a good time to do as well. Okay. All right. Well, unfortunately, folks, I haven't heard any chat messages. Is anyone still here? If you are, go ahead and say hi. I have copied over my assets now, so I am ready to continue. So, is anyone in the chat? If you are, go ahead and say hi. I just want to make sure that everyone's still here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play some sounds. All right, so if you haven't installed the module, once we start to compile it, you'll want to do that. So it's pip 3 install play sound, or pip install play sound if you're on Windows. I'm a Mac, so that's what we're going to do on Mac. And I'm ready to go, so I'm going to type in play sound, all lowercase, left parentheses. We're going to type in the sound name. So this is going to be called correct, period, MP3, and this is all lowercase. And then we're going to have a quotation mark, right parenthesis. So far we have printed that you've guessed the number. We have also, after that, we have played a sound. The final thing we need to do is we need to break. So break, what that will do is it's pretty simple. Break will break the loop. Break. Okay? And make sure, like I said, you have to indent, or else you will be very sorry when you try to run the program and it doesn't work. So, indentation is key. All right. So, we have indicated for our first case. I have way too many spaces over here. What we're going to do now is we're going to do our second case. So, we are in too far, actually, right now. So, what we have to do if you're in VS Code is I'm going to press backspace, because we have to be at the same level as our previous if statement. Now, you could just do a whole bunch of if statements and checking things, but that's not efficient. So instead of using that, we're going to do what's called an elif, else if statement. So an elif, or else if, is basically checking another set of conditions. Because we don't have a switch statement in Python, we do elif. So we're going to do elif, so E-L-I-F. Okay. Let's see, so user number is greater than computer number. If I can actually type today, that'd be great. We're going to say print. Your guess is too high. So print, left parenthesis, quote, your guess is too high, right parenthesis, quote. Excuse me, quote, right parenthesis. So now we've checked for that, but the other thing we have to do is we have to play our sound. So instead of playing our correct sound, we have to play our incorrect sound. Okay, so we're going to say play sound, left parenthesis, quotation mark, incorrect, MP3. And we're not going to break this time, because we don't want to break, because if we break, that's not going to be helpful. We want to continue until the user guesses the correct number. So we don't want to break. What we want to do instead is we want to do what we were going to do before, and we're going to backspace again to go to the previous condition, previous level, and we're going to do elif user number is less than computer number, colon. Whoops, excuse me, I did not do that right. Okay, so Jeff Bishop asks, do you know of an extension to use symbols instead of indentation in Python? Jeff, I do. Now, I cannot remember the name of that to save my life. I saw it yesterday, or actually a few days ago, and Michael Doey's, it's funny, he's like, oh, Jeff's gonna love that. Sure enough, you asked that on stream. Jeff, let me go ahead and get back to you. I'll put the link in the chat. I just cannot remember the name. But there is a package where you can use braces instead of indentation. So that is a good question. There is a package where you can do braces instead of indentation. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do print. And then your guess is too high, or low, excuse me. So print, your guess is too low. Now it's time to run our code. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Command-Shift-M or Control-Shift-M Windows. This will check for basic problems in VS Code to make sure that our good code is ready and that we can run it in the terminal. And then I like to run it in the terminal. So I like to get all low-hanging fruit done first in the VS Code, and then I'll run it in the terminal. So Command-Shift-M. Okay, so we've got a problem here. So let's see. And then I've got a problem. How many problems do we have? 8 problems. Goodness gracious. Okay. So this is called debugging, folks. So what we're going to do is I'm going to press enter on this error, and it will bring me to the line that it's at. So enter. Okay. All right, so I think I found my first problem. elif, it's at the very low level, meaning that it's at the level before the while loop. So what I need to do is I need to indent this twice. Excuse me, I need to indent this once. And then what I need to do is make sure that this worked. And look at that, folks. We had 8 problems. We've got 1. Let me make sure this is right now. And we have 5 problems. Okay, what the? Okay. Same thing on here. Make sure this is the indentation's correct. Okay. Let me make sure I'm... Okay. Now, let's see. What I need to do is I need to go ahead and okay. So let me make sure that this works. 14. And that's what we're going to do. Yeah, Jeff, it would be easier if you use braces, but the other thing is, too, is that I work on a lot of mainstream projects, and I'm sure the sighted people would want to kill me. But, you know, I'm hearing the sounds, and that's what I'm debugging. So what I'm doing is I'm debugging. Right, and this is all part of rain code, but yeah, the sighted people would hate me. Right? Okay, so twice. And let's see if we can get this to work now. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this extra line here because I've got too many lines here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see. Okay. I'm going to try this again. So, like I said, I'm just debugging. Basically, I'm fixing my problems. That way I can show you guys. But basically, I'm doing the Command-Shift-M or Control-Shift-M, and it's telling me what's wrong. And then I'm pressing Enter on those. And then it's bringing me to the line of the problem. So what I'm going to actually do is, for a split second, I'm going to share my speech. Oh, wait, maybe. It's going to be very fast. Let's see. Print. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. 1, and we're going to make sure that works. Okay, and I just made that line there. Okay. And let's see. And let me go ahead and just look at my code again, just to computer. Okay. And again, I'm literally reading my code. I'm listening for my listening for my indentations to be off, because that's really what my problem is at the moment. Break, okay? Okay. And what I'm going to do is get rid of this space. Again, this is all part of live coding, folks. Oh, you know what? That's right, because I forgot to indent my play sound line. So that's the other thing, too, is that I forgot to indent that line. So again, I knew that because they were separate tones and they were different speech volumes. Okay? No problems have been detected in the workspace. My indentation is right now, folks, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and play the game, in a sense. Let's see if it works in the terminal. So in order to run it, I'm going to do Python 3 guess number.py. So Python 3. Okay, we have an error. Okay? No module name play sound. Okay. So sometimes this can happen. What we're going to do is I'm going to do from play sound, import play sound. And we're going to see if that works better. Nope. Okay. So I had this happen earlier, and this is why what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look it up. This is something you do as an engineer. You know, you have to look some problems up. So I'm going to say play sound. So that's what we're using, Python sample. And what I'm showing you guys is how to Google for different problems that you may find. Right, I'm showing you guys how to Google and how to find problems. So I found this Geek for Geeks tutorial, and I'm going to look at the syntax and make sure that I didn't mess it up. Okay, so okay, from play sound, import play sound. That's what I thought I had. Right. Let's just make sure that this works. And it does. Okay. Oh, you know what? What do you think the problem is? I know. I forgot to do Python 3. Okay, please type your guess between 1 and 10. So I'm going to type in 1. And it said my guess is too low, and I got this little nice booing sound. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to share my screen, and you guys can hear how it works. I got this booing sound. But before I do that, let's see if I can get the number right, and then I'll make sure it works. My guess is too low. I like these sound effects. This is pretty epic. My guess is too low. Alright, is it 8? 8. 7. What the? 6. 9. Alright, folks. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share the code up. And I'm going to share my sound. That way you guys can hear how epic this is. Because what we've done so far is we've played sounds based on if the number is correct, if it's incorrect, and that's pretty epic. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in chat, and then we're going to share the sound that you guys can see how this works, because it's pretty epic. Okay. Yes, Jeff, it would be easier, but, you know, unfortunately, that's not how that goes. Okay. It's time to share some sound, folks. So, for a little bit, I'm going to share my sound. It's going to be a little bit fast, but the reason is that I'm going to show you the Python sound, not my voiceover. Okay? So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my sound. That way you guys can hear these sounds. So it's from play sound, import play sound. So let me go ahead and share my sound. That way you guys can see how this application works. Okay.
Started screen share.
Here we go.
Screen sharing. Terminal.
Terminal. I'm going to press up arrow to review my previous history. And I'm going to press enter.
New. Please type your guess between 110.
I'm going to type in my guess between 110. I'm going to type in 1.
1. Your guess is too low. Please type your guess between 110.
Alright, my guess is too low. Okay, of course. Let's do 2.
2. You guessed my number. TAY. A tail dash hard slash macro dash pro. Guess the number.
You guys heard that sound was a clap. And that clap was saying that, hey, you got it. So that's how this game works. But we're going to try to add some more complexity because we do have a little bit more time. We're going to only allow the user to get 3 guesses. And if after the 3rd guess, if they get it wrong, they're instantly booted and they're, totally not helpful. So how are you guys liking this so far? Are you guys enjoying it? Is it cool? I know it may seem a little bit crazy, but you're learning a lot of different concepts. So hopefully you guys are loving it. And yeah, hopefully you guys are loving it. So I'm going to stop sharing my sound. But let's do one more round of this to see if we can break it.
New. Please type your guess between 110.
I'm going to type in
6. Your guess is too low. Your guess is too low. Your guess is too 4.
4.
Your guess is too high.
3.
Please type 3. Your guess is too low. Your guess is too low. 0. Please type your guess between 110. Carrot R. 0. Your guess is too low. 9. New line. Please type your guess between 1-10. Your guess is too high.
8.
6. Please type your guess between 1-6. 7. 7. 8. New. Please type your guess between 1-10. Your guess is too high.
7.
6. 6. New line. Please type your guess between 1-10. You guess my number.
There we go.
TAY. A tail dash hard slash macro dash pro.
Oh,
Guess the number.
how do you guys like it? You guys like this game? Again, it's pretty crazy, but I like it. So we have so far done pretty great. We have created the game. It works. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead after we do that, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to add the guessing functionality and make sure that it can be restricted. Does anyone have any questions before I move on? Let me go ahead
Visual Studio Code.
And see what we can do here.
Zoom.us.
Stop sharing my
Zoom.us.
sound. Alright, do we have any chatters? Anyone in the chat? Anyone here? I don't see anyone. Okay. So, let me just give it a second, folks, and what we're going to do is I'm going to switch screens, and we're going to get ready for the second portion of the stream, where we're going to try to add guessing functionality. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to go ahead and do it, and we're going to see if our friend GitHub Copilot can assist us a little bit. If you haven't seen my GitHub Copilot stream, basically it's awesome because it will help you learn code. It's kind of supposed to be like a AI-paired programmer, but honestly, you want to use it in a way to help you, not hurt you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen for just a second, and we're going to go into our second part of our demonstration. Okay, so if you have any chat messages, this is time to do it. And okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get ready and start our second part. So, who's ready for the second part of the demonstration? I am. So, I'm going to go ahead and get ready. And if you're here, feel free to say hi. So, I haven't really planned for this, but here's what we're going to do. We need to make sure that we have a variable to check to see how many guesses. So I think what we're going to do is, while true, Actually, you know what? Actually, I'm going to try a nested loop. Again, I haven't planned for this, but I'm going to try a nested loop. So I'm going to say, let me see. Well, true. I'm going to ask GitHub Copilot. So I write a comment and it says, create guesses loop. Because maybe I'm not sure how to do it. So I say create guesses loop as a comment and then I press Control Enter and it will give me some suggestions. I see we have a chatter. Let me go ahead and see who's here. Let's see. Welcome, Johan. We are doing a guess the number game in Python. And we have completed a lot of our game so far, but we're now going to try to restrict it so that you can only guess 3 times before you're booted out. And so far we've added sounds. We've also added user input and random variables, so that kind of thing. So welcome, Johan, and it's super glad that you're here. So let's see. And right now we're talking about GitHub Copilot. And we're talking about how you can use it to kind of help you if you're in the technical preview. Now, it is a technical preview, and I have access to it, but if you don't, I'd recommend getting on the waiting list and checking it out, okay? So on my right, I've got a whole bunch of different proposed solutions. So let's see what they have, and let's see if I can learn anything, okay? Well, true. I don't like that. Nope. Okay. So what I'm going to I'm going to rephrase this comment. So I'm going to say create loop to 3 guesses. Okay, so basically that way I can maybe see how this is done. Okay. Okay, maybe that, guesses equals 0. Guesses less than 3. No, I don't like that either. Okay. Lose that MP3, that's awesome. Okay. And again, I'm just reading this code so I can learn how to do it, right? It's kind of, I'm learning from this tool that's supposed to kind of do it for you, but I'm learning the best way to do it, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I could use a while loop, and that's, I think, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say while guesses less than 3. And then I will increment the guesses if I need to. So that is, I think, what we're going to do is we're going to increment the guesses. So here's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and try this again. This is not planned, so this is where we could probably mess up. So while, actually, no, what we need to do is guesses equals 0. Guesses. G. Actually, I'm going to say tries. That's what I'm going to do. Tries equals 0. So while tries, again, lowercase while, tries is less than 3. Colon. Now, everything under this will go ahead and be indented. So everything underneath will be there. From future import braces, Jeff? Did you just make that up? Or is that a thing? Anyways, yeah, Jeff, fine. I will try to do braces at some point. We'll see how that goes. Okay. So, random. While tries less than 3. Computer number. We're going to... Okay, so... I'm going to input this as a brace. So basically, we have to make sure that everything's imported or indented one more. Okay. Really? Interesting, Jeff. I'll have to look at that. Okay, so Elif, we're going to put this as twice. Or we're going to have like, okay, hold on. Basically, we've got loops inside of loops. So we're going all loopy. Okay? We're going all loopy. That is what we're doing. We are going loopy. Okay, so all I'm doing is indenting everything one more because we've got 2 loops inside of each thing right now. So we've got 2 loops. So we have to indent everything underneath of that so that way it will be underneath the loops. And that way it will be underneath the guesses loop where we check to make sure it's not 3. And also the main while loop. Okay? Okay. So... here's what we're going to do. We're going to do guesses, or tries, excuse me. Okay. Okay, so tries plus equals 1. Okay? And we're going to do that again down below here. Tries S plus equals, we can do that instead of, so plus equals as an operator, so we can do plus equals 1. All right, let's see if my code works. Okay, I've got 7 problems. Okay. So we got 4 spaces, and 8, and then, but it's really helpful to make sure that you listen for the tones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys at the end how it sounds. So once I'm done with this, I'll show you guys and you can listen to it. And also download it on GitHub when I'm done. Because again, this is more complicated than I had intended on it. But yes, we can use braces eventually, Jeff. We can look at that. Maybe that'll be next week's stream. Who knows? LF. Okay. So. Let's see if I accidentally made this worse or better. I did a good job. All right, let's go ahead and run our application. Oh. Okay. I've got an infinite loop. Alright, let's go ahead and try to see if we can't fix that. Because right now, it's not doing anything. So, let's see if we can't fix that. What we're going to do is we're going to debug this. So, what I think happened is the while loop was not underneath. Here we go. The while loop was not underneath the other while loop, so it was unindented. So we're going to do 1. Okay. 6. Okay. So we've got one more guess left. Oh. Man. Okay, we got to try it again because I need to try to... Oh, and now it... Okay. Well, I guess if they want to play again, that's fine. So let's just see if I can't go ahead and do this again. So, too low. Low. Okay. Okay, so it will not stop. So what I need to do is I need to check. Okay, so I'm going to say elif tries greater than 3. Print you lost. Alright, then I'm going to do play sound. I'm going to say play sound incorrect. .mp3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do whoops. I went too far, folks. Again, this can kind of get... There we go. So, play sound. Let's see if this works now. Okay, I messed this up. Let me see. Syntax error. Okay, what did I mess up? So, syntax error basically means that I had 2 quotes. Awesome. Alright, so now let's try this again. Five. Oh, man. Okay. Oops. 7. 1. And let's do... Okay, so we did not get the other condition. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we need to break. Break. So let's see if I can't break this and see if this works. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so it's all about testing, because now I'm testing my application. So, 8, 8, 7. Now, in the next one, it should go ahead and kick me out. No. Okay, so now it did not kick me out. So here's what we're going to do. This is all about live coding. So if it didn't kick me out, here's what we're going to do. We're going to Bubber. Joke, Easter egg, smiley face. Yeah, I know, no kidding. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Is we're going to, let's see. I just have to make sure that this is working properly. Okay. So actually, what I'm going to do this time, since that didn't actually work, I'm going to get rid of this. And this is exactly why having backups is helpful in case you mess things up. Because again, live coding. So let's go ahead and look at what the Copilot has to say. Right? So let's see what the Copilot, aka GitHub Copilot, has to say. Because we kind of did that before, but let's see if we can't implement something different. Maybe what we're going to do is we're going to have it so it'll ask every time they want to guess. So I'm going to say, only allow user to guess 3 times. And then I'm going to put it in Copilot and see what it recommends I do. Again, it's not perfect, but it kind of helps you to be able to see what you can do. Okay. Okay, so this is a for loop. Okay. So the Copilot so far is like, okay, do a for loop. Okay. And I'll try is greater than 0. Okay, yep. Okay. Oh, you know what? I am really, okay, wait. I could just do a minus equals. Okay, so you know what? I messed up. So here's what we're going to do. Again, this is why we do live coding. So we're going to do okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I am really, really stupid at the moment. So what we're going to do is, instead of the while true, I'm going to actually change this. Guesses or tries. Oops. Greater than 0. Okay, and that way I could do tries equals 3. Okay, so basically I'm checking to make sure tries equals or greater than 0. If they're not, then I will go ahead and end the program. So this is a little bit different, but this is actually what we're going to end up doing, is we're going to have it in this format. So this will be the whole thing. While tries greater than 0. Okay. Okay, so we're going to allow the computer to guess and the user to guess. And tries equals 3. So I'm going to go ahead and write tries equals 3 to initialize that variable. Okay, so tries equals 3. And then anytime that they guess it wrong, we're going to do minus equals, which will decrement the loop. And that way it will go down to 0 eventually. Okay? So that's how that's going to work. Let's go ahead and try this time. Okay? So now we're going to do tries dash or minus equals 1. Tries. Okay? Minus equals 1. Okay? And let's see if this runs. Okay, we have an error. Okay? Tries is not defined. Okay, so you know what? That's a good point. It would be very helpful. Okay, and we're just going to say tries equals so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put tries equals 3 in outside the loop because now it wasn't defined. Okay, type my guess between 1 and 10. 1. Oh, come on. Okay, so I guess my number. Now I gotta try this again. 5. Okay, I'm just gonna type in 5. 5. Boom. All right, y'all. We've got it so that if the tries are less than 3, and that way it will decrement the loop, okay? So now we have a program that you can literally have it so that it will count the number of tries. If it is greater than 0, it will continue. If it's less than 0, it will fail, okay? So that is awesome. That is awesomeness, and that is pretty much what our goal is, okay? So I just want to wrap up with a couple of things, and I just want to talk about this. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my completed code on the chat. But what do y'all think about this? You guys like this? Do you want more of this stuff? Or what do you think? GitHub Copilot is pretty awesome. I'm just going to say it helps you to be able to think about different logic. Okay? But what do you guys think? You guys like it? And I'll just wait for a few minutes. But yeah, folks, this is our goal. This is what we set out to do tonight. And this is what we've done. Now, what we could do, if we want to get more complex, which I don't really want to do tonight because it is getting late, is we could always add some more functionalities to this. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is helpful? Do you want more of these things? Do you want more of these live coding where I try to solve problems? Does this help you guys? And yeah, feel free to get in the GitHub technical preview for the Copilot because it really helps you to try to think about logic. And that's kind of what I use it for. I don't have it write code for me, but I have it help me try to solve a problem if I'm unsure. Well, I could Google it. It's just kind of a great way to do it in my editor. So, okay, I'm like, okay, why isn't this working? Right, because I'm incrementing the loop. Well, that's a problem. See, I know that for next time. Okay, and so I think this is really helpful for us. So yeah, what do you guys think? I'm just going to wait a second for people to go ahead and comment. After this, I'm going to go ahead and end it, and I'm going to go put this on GitHub. If you're not following me on Twitter, go follow me on Twitter so you know when it's published. I'll go ahead and put this in the description as well, but I will try to get this out tonight on GitHub. So go ahead and get this ready, go clone it, go mess with it, go see what you can accomplish, okay? But that is it, everyone. This is an awesome Techopolis stream. We will talk later, and let me know what else you want me to do. I am going to be very excited. We're going to be having some stuff with Michael. We're going to be doing more live coding, and it's going to be pretty epic. So if you guys like it, go ahead and subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, I don't know what y'all are missing. Let's go ahead and try to get it to 110 by the end of the week. Can we do it? Also, if you want a programming-based meetup, Michael and I have started a meetup in Austin. You do not have to be living in Austin to take advantage of it. It is fully online. We're going to maybe have some stuff in Austin in person. The link will be in the description as well, so if you want to join it, it's called Programming for Everyone. So it's going to be, our first meeting is going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about Programming 101, so how to get started. All right, folks, I think that'll do it for today, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a great day, and have a great week, and we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.